That should work. Well, hello, everybody. How you guys doing? All right, so who do we have here? People in the back, can you hear me quite yet, or do I need to like blast this thing out? How about this? Is this looking good? It's looking good? I'm getting the devil's horns from chat, so it seems like we have something good going on. Cool, well, thank you so much for coming out. I think today's going to be super exciting, but we'll find out, really. It's all on Rory's shoulders. It's going to blow your mind, actually, is what's going to happen. Watch this. So good, we're going to record it. Uh-huh. Well, hi there, my name is Eli, and you have arrived at NetSquared Vancouver. I'm super tickled to have you guys here. If we don't move a lot, it won't get too hot. If we move a lot, we'll start building up heat in this room, we'll all pass out. It'll be tragic. I think we can open those windows. Maybe it's worth a shot. So what is this crazy thing you're at? This is Vancouver's meetup for nonprofit tech folk. Basically, you work in the charity sector or care about using technology for good, you're in the right place. As you saw, there's about 2,000 of us. If you think that you want to reach the tech-savvy charity staff of Vancouver and you're game for sponsorship, you should give me a shout. I'm going to tell you about other great sponsors, but you could be one of them. Super exciting. We are part of a global network of nonprofit tech meetups called NetSquared. 50 groups, 20 countries. Basically means if you're traveling, you should go and find your local meetup, say hello. So I told you about sponsors. The sponsor who is big in my heart is the Hive. The Hive has been our home for about 2.5 years, and we wouldn't be able to do this without them. We know because it was impossible before they showed up. So God bless them. They are a co-working space. Who here has been to the Hive before? It's like done like a day shift here or done something interesting. So what you can do here at the Hive is you can be here permanently because maybe working from home sucks. Or you can come in here to the space right here and be a hot desker, which means you can just come in, drop in for a day because maybe your colleagues in your office are making you grumpy and you want to just get the hell out for a couple hours. I can even help you with that. I've got free day passes for the Hive. Come to me, I'll hook you up. It'll be super great. The Hive is fabulous, really. The way you can tell them that you think they're fabulous is you can fill out like this Twitter thing here. Go at Hive Vancouver, tell them they're great. See, I told you, coupons. Another sponsor is TechSoup Canada, who basically is one of the people who makes me employed day to day, so I'm pretty grateful. If you're a charity, church, or nonprofit and are paying for your software, you should stop that because you're being a sucker. TechSoup will give you 90% plus discounts to all kinds of software and goodness that is available for nonprofits. One of those things right now is they're now the preferred way for you as a charity or nonprofit to get hooked up with Google for nonprofits. A whole bunch of great stuff, including Gmail for your domain. But the cool thing is you can also get like $10,000 worth of free AdWords every month. You'll be struggling to spend that out initially because it's a very generous gift. If you register for TechSoup, real quick registration. In the old days, it used to take like several months. So this is hot stuff. Registration is free. Also, IADS. If you are trying to accept money online or process a credit card, there are a lot of solutions out there. Some of them are really terrible. IADS is not. One of the things they've really got going for them is they're based out of Vancouver, so when you call them, a human being in Vancouver answers the phone. That is a real game changer for anyone who's ever tried to call up, say, PayPal and got caught in like some authorization hell for the next couple of years. And then we've got N10, which is the membership-based organization for nonprofit techies. So if that is your world, you want to hang out with your posse. N10's the place, they'll hook you up. They also have cute dog and cat stickers on the back table. And if you are one of those Twitter people, don't be afraid to use our hashtag. It's Net2Van. Van is in Vancouver. So I'm not even going to ask you about who's new, because really, we've got enough time that we're just going to go around the room. And I want you to just really quickly to say, who are you and what brought you here today? We're going to go like one sentence, going to go pow, 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 pow. But why don't we start over here? Derek, who are you?
My name's Derek DeLost. I work at Arts Umbrella. Yeah, I've come to a couple Net2Vans before, and I've seen Rory's vlog, and it's pretty hilarious, so I thought, check it out.
Smart, man with good taste.
I'm Bailey. I work at the YMCA for Vancouver, and I agree, the vlog is really awesome.
Hi, my name is Naoki. I'm a web developer from Zurich, Switzerland. I came here for the summer because I'm working on a First Nations language as well. So yeah, that's my plan.
Wow.
I'm Joe. I'm a dog trainer and starting to do some more online to give free advice to people. So that's why I came. And I met Rory. Seems absolutely amazing. She'll be awesome.
It's a Rory fan show.
Hi, I'm Victoria. Well, thank you. Nobody calls me Victoria, but I work for a nonprofit called Open Door Group. Who am I? I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. I don't want to ask that question. I think that's
I'm Matt. I'm a lawyer and sole practitioner, and I do pro bono and on occasion pro bono work. So if you have some needs, you can feel free to talk to me afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Ahmed. I'm an effects technical director with Official Effects. And yeah. Anything else?
Sure. What brought you here today?
Huh?
What brought you here today?
I saw the meetup group.
Awesome. See, it works. It works.
Hi, I'm Edward. I'm working on a startup right now, but I also help out the Lionsgate Hospital Foundation with some of their donor relations stuff. So I'll go learn more from that.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn. I work for the Association of Social Workers, and it's just started accepting online donations. So that's why I'm here. And I also volunteer for quite a few music festivals in Vancouver, doing the same thing.
Nice. Community folk.
I'm Samantha. I work through the Vancouver County Music. I'm also a right
Yeah, I'm Randy. I come from Beijing for summer vacation here. My family live in Berkeley. I teaching in Beijing University for the EMBA class for the business strategy. So I think this is really a very important subject in the near future.
Bob, thanks for coming out.
I'm Yi-Shin Chen. I come from Taiwan and I work in China for about 80 years. I retired here.
So up top, we've got one of our volunteers who's just disappeared around the corner.
Sorry, what?
Who are you?
Oh, we are part of this too. Hi, my name is Eva. I'm a volunteer for the Native Vancouver. Nice to meet you all. You probably see me a lot at the front door and asking for donations.
Who's this Chad guy?
I'm Chad. I came for the broccoli and carrots. You can have all the cauliflower.
Why don't you go, McKay?
Sure. I'm Mackay. I'm the Mackay and McKay. I'm the manager of fundraising for Mosaic and the service organization.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm David. I just moved here from Edmonton.
Woo, out of town.
And I just graduated from university, and I just went here because I've always been interested in nonprofits and just wanted to meet people.
Sweet.
I'm Ken. I'm in the IT field. I just want to learn more about what's going on.
Awesome. Thank you for coming out.
And another Ken here too.
What?
Oh, great. I'm a project manager actually. I do a lot of different construction projects that are around the city that you see that kind of cool and neat. And I do a lot of small businesses and small startups, so you see
Cool, cool. We're going to skip Rory. Why not?
My name is Charity. I work at the BCIT Foundation, and I'm here to learn, just like you guys, just want to learn more.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm an online organizer. Just moved here from San Francisco. I've been doing events down there.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, that's really great to hear. Well, I'll actually be there next week to meet up with the San Francisco organizers. Hi.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I'm here because I was invited to talk a little bit about my work, which is a alternatives to business training program for youth that you'll hear more about in a minute.
Awesome.
I'm Siobhan. I do a lot of volunteering for the Association of Fundraising Professionals and some social media stuff, so I'm always stealing Rory's tips. Yeah.
And vice versa.
Rochella, I work for the Positive Living Society in Communications. I do a website and they have a magazine for their members.
I'm Nick. I've been in fundraising for over 30 years now, mainly in the cancer field. So when I started, this technology just didn't exist. So I thought it was about time I wrapped my brain around it. And also I'm good friends with Rory, so good reason to be here.
Sweet.
And I'm David. I basically set the computer up the evening and that's what I do.
Yay, David.
These are huge lives. David is going to be running the whole social media extravaganza, reporting out this event to the world today. And then finally,
Hi, my name is Kenneth, and I am your photographer today.
yay! One of our 3 volunteers along with David. God bless all of their hearts. See? Volunteers, they're great. So you guys have a second piece of homework today, which is once we're done all this presentations, you are going to get up to 1 minute, no more, to show off, tell people about the cool project you're launching, tell people about the person you're trying to hire or the volunteer you're trying to recruit. Basically, if you got something you just got to bust out and tell people about, you've got 30 seconds, maybe 1 minute to do it. So cue that all up for the end of the night. And while I'm showing off, we've got a couple events scheduled for the next couple of months, I guess. So in 2 weeks, we're all going to be going over to Hootsuite, and their social media coaches are going to be offering people free 30-minute one-on-one coaching and consulting. So if you've got any kind of crazy, tricky question about Hootsuite, social media, tracking your campaigns, anything like that, I got people for you there. So you just need to show up, and they will take care of you, and we'll match you with someone who's got an expertise that matches your need. It's going to be kind of amazing. It'll be super fun. There might even be a couple of carrots there for you. We'll keep you fed. Then in August, we're going to be talking a little bit about Slacktivism, what it is, and we're also going to be talking with the Open Media Foundation folk who are going to be running us through how they measure their campaigns and how they actually track their supporters from online into email, into other like online advocacy, onto volunteers. So we're going to get sort of a bit of a 360 picture of their supporters and how they actually measure and make sense of all that. And then in September, we're going to go back to social media, and this time we're going to be bringing someone in from the BCSBCA who's going to be talking about how, for their Friends Asking Friends and peer giving campaigns, they're working with social media to goose those campaigns and help their supporters be more successful fundraisers. In summary, it's going to be great. So that's all I got for you today, because I'm not going to pass you on to real experts. So we're going to start off with Paula, who's going to tell us about cool things. Do you want to come up here and mic it up?
Thank you. And this isn't the only reason I'm here today. I love these events and I'm excited about what's going to happen after my little,
Give him a little
my extra 1 minute.
With the website first?
Yeah, that'd be great. So as I said, I'm here representing Groundswell. It's a new organization in the downtown east side doing alternatives to business training for youth. And by youth, it's kind of 35 and under. So I hope one day that youth and then senior like, there's nothing in between, because that would be fantastic discounts. So I am here today to ask you guys a favor. There's a chance that some of you in the room, for example, Mr. recently graduated from university, might actually contemplate being a participant in Groundswell. What it is it's three-ish month semesters. First one's in personal development and sort of creating an idea. The second one is hardcore business plan, et cetera, everything to do with that. And the last one is marketing and your pitch. And all of this is wrapped up in a really ethics-first sort of environment. We don't, like our participants don't create your traditional for-profit businesses. We had a bunch of co-ops come out of last year's cohort, a handful of nonprofits, and a few community projects that were a bit smaller in scope than a full-on enterprise. So what I'm asking you to do is, I have to go back to, is to check out our website, first of all, groundswellcommunity.ca, and spread the word if you like what you see, if you know anyone who's a prospective candidate, and to give you an idea of our kind of most typical participant. They are usually university graduates, although that's definitely not mandatory, but a little bit of life experience is handy. And they're either stuck in a job that is in line with their values, or they're working part-time or no time, and they really want to make something. They want to be their own boss. They want to start something. But these aren't really your typical students who would take an MBA because they don't feel it's in line with what they want to do in the world. So we're also on Facebook, Groundswell Roots, but if you just search Groundswell Community, they'll come up as well. And so if you could spread the word, we're like hard on recruitment right now, so anyone you know would be fantastic. And one more thing, just so I don't have to do my 1 minute at the end, is we're hiring a community coordinator. It's a part-time position, and it's someone who's gonna be the connection between students and the community. So for example, last year, students went out in the first semester and did free consulting for nonprofits in like literally our neighbors, and across the street you had Mission Possible was one of them, and the living room beside us, which was such a great service to the community. So our community coordinator facilitates those relationships and also brings in guest speakers that are sort of relevant. Being in the downtown east side, as you can imagine, is definitely like adds a layer of complexity to operating something that has anything to do with business. So someone with really good roots in the downtown east side and can navigate the organizations and individuals and neighbors is who we're looking for. And you can find that posting on Good Work Canada or on our website. And there are posters, like one on each table and one at the back. I just had a few left over, so grab one of those and put it up if you like, or just read it yourself and check out our website. Thank you so much for giving me a few minutes.
And so now I'm going to pass you on to the Rory show. So Siobhan Aspinall right here has a bit of a theory. And her theory is that Rory is pretty much going to take over the world.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's her hope, because she says, like, basically, she says she's got it together, she's not an idiot, look at the amazing things she does, why not? So right now she's busy taking over, well, first of all, BCIT, then she's like, all right, done that, now let's go and do SFU. So currently she is working with major gifts at SFU. See, I learned one thing. And also, she runs this crazy Tumblr. It's gonna blow your mind. I'm gonna get out of the way because it's kind of crazy awesome. I'm gonna pass you the mic. I'll fire up the slides.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Wow, really big, like lots of pressure is built, and I feel like let's just collectively lower our expectations. That would be really awesome. Before I launch into it, anyone who is familiar with Fundraiser Grrl, the most interesting part of it is someone once came up to me at a conference and said, your Tumblr is so funny, you're so hilarious. And my husband was really floored because he thinks I'm like the least funny person ever. So if you're expecting me to do like really good jokes, I apologize already. So I want to talk to you about this website I started called Fundraiser Grrl. It's a Tumblr blog. And I'll get into what it is, but kind of about my journey of starting it and trying to create a community of people who are professional fundraisers, trying to give them a place where they can go and they can laugh and they can relate to each other and share knowledge with each other, but in a really tongue-in-cheek kind of way. My motto is that nonprofits shouldn't be non-fun. And if you want to tweet, feel free. I won't assume that you're texting on your phone. That's my Twitter handle right there. That's my Twitter handle right there. Got it with the computer. So I'd love to know who y'all are before I get into who I am. And the first thing I want to do is a little activity. It's an SFU community building activity. I apologize in advance. And so this is how it works. This right here is this room. So I want you to imagine that where I'm standing is right in this room. It takes a lot of imagination. And the other end is as far away from this room as you can get. And I want you guys to line up based on where you were born. So say St. Paul's might be here, VGH might be here, Seattle might be here, you know, China might be down there. Go, you can talk.
All right.
I did this recently.
Alberta, we're somewhat close, but not that close.
I did this recently in San Antonio and had to explain to a room full of Americans that Alaska is not actually farther away than Nova Scotia. How are we doing? Put your hands up if you think you're done. You're in the right place. Put your hands up if you think you're standing in the right place. If you think you figured it out, hands in the air. All right. So we're going to go down the line. And I'm assuming these guys are Vancouver. So what hospital in Vancouver? St. Paul? You guys don't know. Lionsgate. Go call your parents, have a conversation. I'm sure it's a beautiful story.
Royal Columbian.
Royal Columbian. Murrayville. Victoria. Kelowna. Calgary. Fort McMurray. All right. I think we've got some West Coast Americans down here. San Francisco. Down the line. Toronto. Woo, that's where I was born. Any women's college hospital?
Sure.
Yeah. I should have known we were born in the same hospital.
There was something else there.
All right, further down. Birmingham. London. Okay. Okay, UK. London. Taiwan. Switzerland. Nick, are you London? London. Taiwan.
Far East.
Far East. We're in the Far East.
We are the old feisty.
All right, of the three people at the back, who do you think was born the farthest away? Of the three in the back, who was born the farthest away? Or the three of you? It's going to be hard to give this book to all three of you. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 3. Thinking of a number, it's either 1, 2, or 3. Green shirt. All right, you got it. Pass this back to them. All right, sit down. Feel free to sit down with different people than you were sitting with. We all know each other now. We know where we were born. I heard a little bit about what's your story. So I work in a kind of fundraising. I've always worked in fundraising. I've never worked in anything that's not fundraising except for one job where I sold clothing, and the clothing was so bad it might as well have been fundraising. Because they were basically giving me money for nothing. So I work in a kind of fundraising called major gifts, which basically means big money from rich people and sometimes big money from companies. Or sometimes it means little money from people who could give us big money in the future. So I'm not, actually tweeting people and asking for $5 donations. I'm sitting down, looking a millionaire in the eyes and saying, I'd like you to consider an investment of $5 million in this project. So I do a lot of talking and working with people on sales skills, on how to talk to someone who's super duper rich and still feel good about yourself, on how to ask someone for $5 million when you have nothing to give them back. I don't actually work a lot with digital. I don't ever tweet in a work capacity. I'm not an expert in this. I just have my personal experience, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So I really have no idea what I'm doing. That said, I've noticed some things that have worked, I've noticed some things that haven't worked, and I've done some things wrong, and I'm happy to talk to you about what that's been. I have a budget of $0. I spend $0 on Fundraiser Grrl. Well, it's kind of a lie. I bought some buttons once for a conference, but I spend no money on this website. And I have a full-time job that has nothing to do with social media, has nothing to do with Tumblr. So this is done in my spare time. I do this on the bus on my way to work. I do this sitting in bed with my laptop. I'm seriously, seriously, seriously not a tech person. I love this. Sometimes I feel like I'm just a puppy. I don't know what I'm doing. But I do spend a lot of time on the internet. An unhealthy amount of time in the deep, dark crevices of the internet where bizarre, funny, wonderful, awesome things live. And a lot of time on Tumblr. So, how many people in this room are kind of familiar with Tumblr in general? Hands up. How many people think they know how to pronounce this word? Okay, so what I'm going to be talking today is a lot about is our memes, which are kind of these funny, weird things that for some reason get really popular on the internet. And one of my favorite examples is this is a monkey who was left at IKEA wearing nothing but a shearling coat. He was a very dapper monkey out for a day of buying a Kavriga dresser and a Malm bed, and he got stranded in IKEA, and he looks so sad. And he was wearing a shearling coat, and it exploded on the internet. People combined it with other memes. This is the successful business cat who's realizing he forgot to pick up Carl. People created instructions on how to make your very own monkey. This is a fundraising meme from a guy called Jeff Brooks, who is a fundraiser who really hates social media in general, and does not like Giving Tuesday, does not like methodology, doesn't like methodology, and also really hates rebranding. He hates rebranding. So it's kind of things that are popular and get repurposed and retold, and the internet kind of takes control of it. There was a great photo of Beyonce making this really horrible face, and she wanted it taken out from the internet, and the internet responded by like taking this image and doing 100 million things with it. I love that. I love that we come together and do these kooky things with people we don't even know. So a GIF is it's like a little moving picture. They're really popular on Tumblr. They kind of started in the 90s, and they were like the dancing bananas, and they've kind of gone from there. Someone tweeted me saying they really wanted to learn in this session how to make these. And my dirty secret is that I don't, that almost any GIF you need is out there on the internet already, and you literally just search like cat taking glasses off GIF image search, and it's there. I once needed, for Nick's wife, a photo of a deer wearing high-heeled shoes falling down, and it was on the internet, because the internet is a beautiful, weird, wonderful place where you can find anything. At some point, some of you are probably judging me a little bit, saying, isn't it pronounced GIF? And I think it is, but I like GIF with a G instead of a J, because it's like with a G, because it's like a gift. It's like a beautiful gift to the world. So that's how I say it. I apologize if you don't like my pronunciation. So Fundraiser Grrl, I'm trying to remember if I linked to it. I don't think I did. It's a website that basically has these weird captions. I don't know how to use a Mac. That's okay. Of just these situations that we experience as fundraisers and kind of my emotional reaction to them. And I started it because there's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of fundraisers in Canada, people whose job it is to raise money for nonprofits, and we are not represented at all in pop culture. You know, there's no TV show about fundraisers. They're not, the best friend in the movie isn't a fundraiser. There's a lot of architects and lawyers and cops and doctors, but there's not a lot of fundraisers. But the truth is there's a lot of fundraisers in life. And that's why I started it, was I just wanted to give us something that was fun and purely entertainment that had to do with our very unique and very crazy profession. And Grrl is spelled like that with 2 R's. It's kind of a throwback to my favorite music genre, Riot Grrl, which in the 90s came out of the punk movement to create a very feminist, very kind of not proactive, what's the word I'm looking for? You just said it. Not proactive. Anyways, a very kind of left-wing space for women in the punk rock movement, and they spelled it Grrrl. So it's just a little hat tip to that, which no one ever gets. And so I created Fundraiser Grrl, and the first person I sent it to was actually Siobhan, because she has the perfect combination of a lot of knowledge about fundraising and a really great sense of humor. And it has exploded from there. So I started it a year and a half ago, and today I get about 1,000 visitors a day during the week, none on the weekends. It's people sitting in their office, not doing work, looking at my website. And then on the weekends, they're out living their lives. I've had over 200,000 visitors since I began. When I started it a year and a half ago, I had less than 300 Twitter followers, and I think today I'm up to 5,760 in a year and a half, which, again, for someone who doesn't do this and this isn't my job, it's been kind of crazy. So the scenarios are kind of like things that everyone who has professionally raised money has experienced. So when a big gift is undesignated, you have no idea how great that is. That is like pure, when someone says, I'm gonna give you money, you can pay salaries with it. You can keep your lights on with this money. You can pay your rent with this money. That is crazy. Because normally they want to give it, I want this money to go to cat food, or I want it to go to a bursary for an Aboriginal student, which is awesome. But every once in a while you get that undesignated gift and it's great. When your coworker doesn't put things in Razor's Edge. One of my favorite posts I've ever done is when you get caught not putting things in Razor's Edge, and it's the crab from Finding Nemo, and he's like, I am ashamed. Because I rag on people constantly on my blog for not putting things in our CRM database and for keeping information in their heads, which is so stupid when fundraisers leave their jobs every 2 years. But yet I do it too. I get called out all the time for not. Charity knows, because it was her job to make me put things in Razor's Edge. So when you're researching mobile donation platforms, when you're filling out a huge grant application, has anyone in this room ever filled out the BC Lottery Corporation grant application? Oh dear God, I have never run a marathon, but it is worse than running a marathon. I say that having never run a marathon. When a colleague gives you a list by printing off the Excel spreadsheet and handing it to you to edit instead of emailing it to you. This is a real story that really happened to someone. Trying to pull a difficult query from Razor's Edge. I don't know if you can read that. It says, computer says no. Which Razor's Edge basically, like, your whole thing just freezes and shuts down. So I'm really here to tell you, because not all of you will find Fundraiser Grrl funny, because not all of you are professional fundraisers, but what I learned in the process of starting this website. The first one is define your audience. Understand who your people are. And Siobhan's a great example of that. My people are professional fundraisers. I am not making this website for people who work in the nonprofit world who aren't some way involved in asking people for money. They are people who are comfortable with the internet. They are people who have a good sense of humor. My audience is people from Vancouver, Toronto, the west coast of the States, London and Australia predominantly. They are mainly people who work in annual giving and prospect research, which is odd because I don't work in either of those. I should say, I work in major gifts. My husband does planned giving. My father runs a consultancy company. My mother does event fundraising, and 2 of my best friends are fundraisers. So fundraising is my entire life. It is what I talk about when I go home. So that is kind of part of the reason I started it. And know your audience. So understand, when are they online? When are they tweeting? When are they reading my tweets? When are they going to my website? Thursday and Friday are my most popular days, so I'd like to make sure my funniest, most shareable stuff gets posted on Thursday and Friday, and I will save really good stuff for Thursdays and Fridays, knowing that those are my busiest days. I am a firm believer that there is no general public. If you're trying to reach everyone, you are going to fail. If you are sending great left-wing pro-life emails, know that target, right-wing pro-life emails or left-wing pro-choice emails. But know who they are, know what they want from you. Even as simple as, and I'll talk about this later, Fundraiser Grrl fans like cats more than Fundraiser Grrl fans like dogs. Cat stuff resonates more with my audience than dog stuff, raccoon stuff, bunny stuff. Like the more targeted you know your audience, the better your content is gonna be. Create mental nods. This is a tip I'm swiping from direct mail. So when you get a letter in the mail asking you for money, you know, you based on what you know about your audience, you write things that you know they're going to agree with. So if you're sending a direct mail piece to a bunch of people who, you know, support a nature conservancy charity, you're going to say things like, I was walking through nature today and I looked at the beautiful trees, and they're nodding along thinking, because they like nature too and they know what trees look like. And you know, you might say something like, I want this to be here for my grandchildren, and they're nodding along because they're probably over 60 and have grandchildren as well, and they want nature to, you know, you create these mental nods. And that's what I try and do with Fundraiser Grrl. I try and create content that people are gonna nod along with. People really like to have what they believe kind of put in front of them for them to agree with. Someone once told me that beliefs are the crazy glue of humanity. And if you kind of say, this is who I am and this is what I believe in, and someone can see that echoed, their own beliefs echoed in you, that brings you really close together. So you have to talk about that, you have to put that out there, get people nodding along with you. So if you're a dog trainer, stuff about how great and lovable dogs are, people are gonna nod along with that because they probably have and love dogs. This is a horrible GIF, I couldn't find a better one, I'm a little ashamed. You have to measure what you're doing. And like I said, I'm not, you know, I do this in my spare time, but I look at how many clicks does something get when I tweet it out? How many likes does it get on Tumblr? How many views does the page get? How many people are sharing it? You have to measure all of that stuff if you want to find what's working and replicate it. And the kind of off of that is test, test, and test some more. And this is, I love this, this is Mr. Burns deciding if you should buy ketchup or ketchup. And if he was a fundraiser, I'd advise him to buy both, A/B test it, and see what responded best with his audience. Yeah. So I tried posting 10 times a day. I tried posting 4 times a day. I tried posting once a day. I tried not posting on the weekends. And for me, my sweet spot is about twice a day, is how many times my community wants me to post. Any more, my readership drops, my click-throughs go down, it's too much, people aren't seeing it. Less than 2, people aren't coming as often because they're not expecting new content. And you know, anytime, and I think this goes to anything to do with digital, because digital is so amazing. How lucky are we that we can actually see how many people are opening this email, how many people are clicking to go through this site, how many people are going to our online donation page, how many people get halfway through our donation page and quit, how many people make a donation. We can measure all of that. So much of what I do as a major gift fundraiser is not as measurable. I don't, when I'm sitting one-on-one with a donor, I don't get those instant results of how much they're resonating with it in such a measurable way. We're doing an e-survey at SFU right now, and we've looked at best practices of what an e-survey should be, but what we're going to do is create our own best practices, and every time we send it out, we're going to A/B test it, see what questions respond, what's the perfect length, what are the questions that get people responding to the survey, how long should the intro email be. Every time we're going to A/B test it and come up with our own best practices. Repeat what works. Find what works and do lots and lots and lots of it. I think a mistake that a lot of nonprofits make is they have a great story, or they have a great case, or they have a great something they want to share, and they share it once, and they assume everyone has seen it. Okay, we're done, move on to the next thing. And it, you know, I think it takes on average about 7 times putting something out to your community for a good cross-section of people to see it. So if you're sending an email solicitation, you know, send it to the people who didn't open it, send it again to the people who didn't open it. If you're sending an e-survey, keep resending it to the people who haven't responded. If you have a story that people are loving and commenting on and sharing, keep telling that story. Don't feel like you always have to be creating brand new from scratch content. That's not something I can do. I mean, I hit hard on a lot of really familiar themes. Free food after board meetings is always popular. I talk about, has anyone ever like had that experience of like the board meeting's done, rush the staff room, they've got lasagna. It is the best, like it is the best thing ever.
They get the good stuff.
This board that kicks you around and is constantly not happy with your results and is constantly clawing back your budgets for direct mail and all of the things you need to raise money. Once in a while, they give you some leftover lasagna and it is amazing. And I have put this on Fundraiser Grrl maybe 100 times, and each time I put it back up, it gets retweeted, it gets clicked on, it gets shared. People love this. And cat gifts. People cannot get enough. I have used the cat reading military strategy maybe 10 times. No one has even noticed. People love the idea, like, that is the perfect, that is my, I'm going into a board meeting and my revenues are down gift. The cat reading military strategy. Little guy in the corner has been on Fundraiser Grrl asking for a higher direct mail budget, begging a donor to get their final pledge payment in, asking for PD funds to go to a conference. I haven't found a use for Breadhead Cat yet, so if anyone has any ideas, please tweet them my way. My community cannot get enough cat gifts. These are two of my more popular posts. Let's see if they'll come up. This one is entitled "The Many Emotions of Razor's Edge." I feel like I need one of like waiting for a website to load. So, you know, the confused puppy is trying to figure out a new query. Come on. This guy is like a boss and he is closing off a proposal. Confused Grrl is reading about scandalous information about your major donors. And he's a little horrified about what he's learning about the people you're raising money from. This is the coworker not putting things in Razor's Edge. This woman is upset because someone's come to you and asked you a question about a donor and they didn't check Razor's Edge, and that information is in Razor's Edge and we could have saved everyone time if you just checked Razor's Edge before coming to me. Darth Vader is upset because someone who left your organization never put things in Razor's Edge. Head Desk is doing data entry, and Jason is, you know, he's just happy that he has a great tool that helps him work with his donors better, which is, at the end of the day, of all of the horrible emotions, a really great feature. Could I get a Mac person to come up and help me change back? I brought my own PC, and we're not using it, but that's okay.
I refuse. Like, we weren't going to sell you this event that way.
Another one, I'm not going to walk through it, you can find it on your own, I'll tweet it out, is I have a Ryan Gosling as the perfect donor list, and he's someone who, like, he funds your ongoing operating costs, he gives at year end when you ask, you know, he doesn't care if you put his name on anything, really popular, and a lot of my audience are female. Give value to your audience. So it's really not about what your audience can do for you, it's about what can you give them. And Fundraiser Grrl is all about giving smiles and laughs and a sense that you're not alone to the people who read it. So please don't think you can create a digital community because you deserve to have one, or because you want one, or it's the newest trendy thing. If you're a cancer charity, the value to your audience is making your donors feel like they've made a positive difference in a cause they probably care a great deal about. It might also be giving them relevant information about how to live healthy lives. If you are the SPCA, maybe it's cute pictures of puppies. I actually love the SPCA's Twitter stuff. We tweet all the time. My grandmother has an adopted cat who's lovely. And they like tell owners that they're good people for adopting pets. Like, that's value you're giving to your audience. So always think about, like, what is in it for my readers? What can I give to them? How can I help them? How can I make their days better? Emotions matter. I think one of the reasons Fundraiser Grrl has been so popular and spread so quickly is because it is, at the end of the day, about emotions. There's a strong emotional component to it, whether it is extreme frustration, angst. A really popular one that keeps coming up, a theme that keeps coming up from user submissions, is when your revenues are down, and that feeling of, like, I have one from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it's Giles talking about how the apocalypse is coming. And we, oh God, all of us fundraisers have felt that. I remember being told at a job, like, meet your targets or so-and-so is gone. Yeah. Like, fundraising is really hard, and it's emotionally exhausting, and you have to put those emotions into it. And I mean, looking at Vanessa, I'm thinking too that stories matter. Vanessa is an expert on storytelling and the importance of storytelling. And I think what Fundraiser Grrl does too is it lets people tell their own story. I have heard the best and the most awesome and the funniest and the most horrific stories. Some aren't safe for the web. A lot are shared anonymously and kind of condensed. But people want to be able to tell their story and have someone hear it, even if it's just me. And I'll often get back in touch with the people who've shared stories and kind of say, I'm putting it on the site, it will be anonymous. But from me to you, I've been through that, it's horrible, I'm so sorry. And that's, I mean, people love having the opportunity, and if we're nonprofits, we're doing something that people probably have a connection with and a story to tell. So using your digital community as a venue for them to tell their own story and share their own emotions is really important. Stop talking about yourself all the time. I'm a big advocate for listening. I do not think as a society we value listening enough. I do not think we as human beings listen enough. And I think as fundraisers and nonprofits, we absolutely fail at listening in so many ways. One-on-one, when we're talking to donors, we fail listening in social media. So if you have a Twitter profile that just 4 times a day shares your vision statement and how awesome you are, that's not interesting to anyone. So stop talking about yourself and find and join conversations. So I look for people who are on social media, who are sharing their own stories, who are talking about fundraising, who are, I have a few blogs, Vanessa's is one of them, and I like to search for who's tweeting about that fundraising blog, because it's a blog that I know and respect. People who are sharing that content probably will relate to my site, so I like to say, if someone's tweeted a great blog by Vanessa, I'll tweet them back and say, oh my God, she's amazing, did you know she's speaking in November? Find those conversations and insert yourself into them, instead of just broadcasting and expecting people to want to come to you. There's a great charity, the Norwegian Cancer Society, and they use Twitter Advanced Search to find people tweeting about cancer in Norway, and they answer their questions about cancer, and they wish people well who have just been diagnosed with cancer, and they congratulate people for finishing a battle with cancer. If you're volunteering for the Norwegian Cancer Society and you're tweeting and it's raining, they'll tweet you back saying, I hope you brought an umbrella. They're finding people and they're getting into the conversation as opposed to waiting for people to come to them. And I think that is maybe the biggest tip I will give you today, is find where your community, where your audience is, find what they're talking about, and join that conversation. Be consistent. Don't be one of those profiles who posts 100 times when you wake up in the morning and then never again through the rest of the day. It is very easy with Hootsuite, with Tumblr, to regulate your content, schedule it out in advance, and be consistent. Be a resource someone can consistently expect good content from. Talk like a real person, not a boring corporate robot. Have a personality. If you're a little bit sassy, be a little bit sassy. If you're, be a human being, because no one wants to interact with. My strategic vision is a future of no juvenile cancer. Like, don't sound like that. That's not interesting, that's not engaging. This is someone who just goes through and tweets random people, please consider helping homeless cancer victim, and they say the exact same thing to everyone. Someone follows me on Twitter, he might follow you too, Vanessa, and he'll tweet like, @RoryJamGreen, stop violating ethical codes, and then a link to his blog about ethics, and That's very strange, and it doesn't sound, it doesn't, has that happened to you? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. Be real, like, instead of like, you know, I might say like, hey Siobhan, you love cats, maybe you'll like my latest post. There's got a really cute cat gif in it. Have a call to action. So what is the point of having this community? What is your goal? What can they do? You have to give them something to do. So for me, it's creating their own content. Fundraiser Grrl is largely crowdsourced now. I am predominantly not coming up with content anymore. I am just curating submissions. So my call to action is to submit people to submit their own ideas. Maybe your call to action is to volunteer, to donate, to visit a website, but have something that people can do once you've got them engaged and you're having a conversation. Love on your community. People have no obligation to be in your community. They can leave and find a new community at any time. There are so many amazing things happening out there. You need to appreciate the people who are engaging with you online. So this was, someone tweeted me and he'd submitted something to my queue and he wanted to know how long it would basically take to get up on Fundraiser Grrl. I posted it right away, it was hilarious. And he also submitted it right. A lot of people submit really wrong when they're trying to submit to Fundraiser Grrl. So I thanked him for submitting it right. It's not up there. I told him it was one of the funniest posts I've seen in a long time. He says, I feel even more special now. And that's what it's about, make your community feel special. When Fundraiser Grrl turned 1, I looked at my most engaged people, and instead of saying, the site's having an anniversary, yay me, which so many charities do on their anniversary, like SFU is 50, give me money because I'm awesome. And no one cares. No one cares how old your charity is. No one cares how old your site is. What I tried to do is say, Fundraiser Grrl exists because of you, my community. And everyone who submitted like more than maybe 10 posts got their own special dedicated post that summarized their funniest submissions from the last year. And the community loved it. People felt very special. People felt very engaged. So if you're a charity and you're celebrating your 75th anniversary, instead of celebrating yourself and what you've accomplished, maybe celebrate some of your best donors and what they've accomplished with their donations. You can switch me back now, thank you. Have goals. If you don't know where you want to go, you're not going to get there. And your goals can change and they can shift and they can evolve. There was a time when my goal was to get more than 5 people a day visiting the site. And I've obviously gotten there, and I have new goals of where I want to get. So it goes back to measuring what you're doing and having metrics that you want to get yourself towards. But you need to have an end place in sight. You need to have a purpose of what you're doing. There's a great book called Start With Why, and I really don't believe in doing things for the sake of doing them. Let's get on Pinterest, because all the young people are on there. Said a boss to me once, no word of a lie. But he had no reason to be on there. Versus, a lot of our volunteers are tweeting about their volunteer experience. We're going to use Twitter to engage them and enrich their volunteer experience. That's a better goal than Twitter's a thing, right? Engage your community. I kind of just put this in here because I love that gift. So for me, engaging my community is getting them to share their stories with me. The funniest submission that made me laugh the hardest was someone telling me about a direct mail campaign they ran. And when you mail someone and ask them for money, you give them what's called a BRE, a business reply envelope, for which they can put their little check in and send it back to you. So there's someone at a lot of big charities whose job it is to open those letters. I had a job like that when I was starting my career, code them in the system. Someone was saying they got a pack of hot sauce in a BRE. And I think that's so funny, opening an envelope and there's a pack of hot sauce in there. Like, why would someone send you hot sauce? And I emailed them back and said, you should have written them a thank you letter about the hot sauce. I had tacos for lunch, and because of you, my tacos were spicy, and without your help, I would have had bland tacos. I hope you will consider, increasing your donation to a bottle of Frank's Red Hot next year. And so I asked the community, what is the strangest thing you have ever gotten in a BRE? And someone said like an empty bag of Doritos. Someone said they had a donor who would take the tinfoil out of cigarette cartons and mail them in so the charity could put them on their ceiling so the government couldn't intercept what was going on. And they honestly thought they were helping. And they would go around and just hundreds, sometimes they'd come in the office on Monday and there'd be like a pile of cigarette tinfoils, you know, on the floor. Anyone else? Weird things people have mailed you at charities? Not a lot of direct mail people in here, I don't think. At least not people opening the letters. So let's try it. I'm engaging you all right now. Who's a fundraiser in the room? You can participate if you're not a fundraiser, but what fundraisers, what makes you feel like this? Doctor Who looking at a computer, he's very excited about something.
Segmenting the data right.
Segmenting the data right on the first try. Oh, yeah, awesome. What makes you feel like this? This can be anyone who's worked in an office.
My version of Razor's Edge that is so old I run it on a Windows 98 virtual machine. I can't throw the virtual machine because it's virtual.
So I work for the Faculty of Applied Science, and we have our own network. So we're not connected to the rest of the university. So I have to get to Blackbaud, which is our Razor's Edge, like through this weird like portal thing that just shuts my computer down after about half an hour. And that's what makes me feel like that, is like updating a donor's record and it doesn't save, and then it's like, yeah, I can't find a caption for this GIF, but I love it. It is happy bouncing jello. Okay, fundraisers, what makes you so happy that you feel like a little cube of happy bouncing jello? Anybody? Bueller? Popsicles. Oh, yeah. We, at BCIT, we had a golf tournament and we had like 100 freezies left over. Charity's laughing because I have like 4 a day. And they made me so happy, but I'd have to like not have the blue freezie if I had a donor meeting, because I'd have the blue tongue and that's very unprofessional.
Yeah, she had to check when I offered her a popsicle today.
Yeah, you can't meet like Ryan Beatty with a blue tongue. You just don't do that. And what happens when you engage your communities, it becomes their community. Fundraiser Grrl is not mine anymore. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to all of the people who live in this crazy world of fundraising and have the desire to share and connect with other people who do the same job. I don't own it anymore. So you get buy-in, you get engagement, people take ownership of it, and it becomes a joy to be involved with because it is not effort, it is just coordination. Some of my favorite free stuff that I recommend anyone with a limited or zero budget who wants to do digital engagement check out. Google Analytics is awesome. You can see, like, really creepy. There's someone on Twitter who has an anonymous Twitter profile. He goes by Fundraising Yoda. And I maybe know exactly where he lives because I tweeted him once in the middle of the night and my Google Analytics told me who was looking at it. So that's really creepy. But like I can see like about twice a week, I have 169 pages of Fundraiser Grrl. Someone is on the 167th, 68th, 69th. I can see, you know, how many pages, how many views per page, how many times people are on it on a given site, where people are coming from. That's huge. Google Analytics is a great way to get to know your audience. I worked at a cancer charity and we started doing analytics and we realized the only people going to our website were staff. There were people from our building looking at it Monday to Friday from like 9 to 4. It was kind of embarrassing. Twitter lists. I follow a lot of people on Twitter because I want to be engaging people in conversation. So I have a list of Fundraiser Grrl submitters and posters so I can make sure I'm continuously having conversations with them. I have a list of favorite bloggers. It's completely free. I have a list of my personal friends, a lot of whom have unfollowed me because I post too much fundraising stuff. Twitter Advanced Search is awesome. You can find, if you're an animal charity and you want to find people tweeting about cats and dogs in your immediate neighborhood, or people looking to, you know, acquire a cat or a dog in your immediate neighborhood, Twitter Search can help you do that. Hootsuite, obviously, I am tweeting right now what I'm talking about because of Hootsuite. The future is now.
It is mind-blowing.
I couldn't live without scheduling tweets on Hootsuite. It is, and I just have the basic free, but it is my favorite. I'm so glad you're going there. I'll probably join you. And my Tumblr queue. So Tumblr can automatically tweet when a new thing is posted, and you can queue up to 360 posts, I think 300 posts. Tell it how often you want to post, what time of day. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love the Tumblr queue. Now I made some mistakes. I made some huge mistakes, which I'm going to tell you about. I don't have a Facebook share button on Fundraiser Grrl. That was a huge effing mistake. I assumed that because I use Twitter and I don't really share this kind of stuff on Facebook that no one in my audience did. I also assumed that people knew how to copy and paste something from a browser into Facebook, which, like, that added step, like, people will just be like, screw this, it's not that funny, and just not share it. And you can't measure it when it's happening that way. So Rory, why don't you just get a Facebook share button, you might be asking? Well, I tried. Fundraiser Grrl was having its busiest week ever. It had been featured on BuzzFeed and Jezebel, and I was getting like 15,000 hits a day. I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to add a Facebook share button. Everyone's gonna be sharing it on Facebook. It's gonna get even more popular. And I crashed the whole site. I ruined the coding. Thank God I backed it up. So don't mess with things when you're at your busiest time. Like, mess with things on a quiet Saturday morning, not on a Thursday afternoon. And I never got that volume back. Like, people left and it just went back to normal. And it never, like, I fixed it that day and I never got them back. And it was really sad. Tagged posts to enable searches. So on Tumblr you can say, like, this is a post about direct mail, this is a post about major giving. I don't do that when I post. It is just more work than I have the capacity to do. And you can't search Tumblr based on the title. And I get a lot of people saying, you know, I want to use Fundraiser Grrl in a presentation. Do you have any stuff about direct mail? Do you have any stuff about storytelling? Do you have any stuff about Twitter? You know, and I kind of have to go through, you know, the 160 plus pages trying to find them stuff, because you can't search by tag. And I know I should start doing it. Honestly, if anyone wants to be a Fundraiser Grrl intern, I will pay you in gifts, but it's just not happening. Some Tumblr blogs do e-newsletters that send out every week or every month, like their funniest, most popular stuff. I really should have at the beginning been collecting email addresses to do that. I will probably start going forward, but I didn't, and that was a mistake. That's kind of all I had to say. Like I said, I'm not the world's biggest expert on this. I'd love to answer questions if people have them. There's a good chance someone's going to ask me a question and I'm going to put it back to the audience to answer, but yeah, questions, dialogue, comments, concerns. Charity.
What's the next goal for your site? You said you talked about goals and
yeah.
Where would you like to see it go?
Yeah, so I want to see it, more submissions is a goal. I want to see, I'd like the posts themselves to have more likes and shares on Tumblr, but a lot of my audience doesn't have Tumblr accounts, so you know, 6 and 1/2 doesn't have another. Another goal is to have all of my posts tagged. I want to break the 10K Twitter follower. That's there, and I'd like to get to about 2,000 visitors a day, because I think there's audiences out there of groups of fundraisers I haven't reached yet, by virtue of different time zones and different languages that I'd like to get to. Other questions?
So for a while your Twitter handle was Fundraiser Grrl, and now you use your name. Are you at all worried that, like, this person that thought was really nice and asked for $1 million is actually really snarky and making funny pictures of me on the internet?
Yeah, so actually never had the Twitter handle Fundraiser Grrl. It was always Rory J. M. Green. And I just say in my thing that I'm Fundraiser Grrl by night. I, as a rule, try not to have anything derogatory about donors. A few might have slipped through. I don't know. They would have been posted by anonymous. I think you might have even tried to get a couple through, and I was like, nope. Nope.
Yeah, probably.
So, yeah, so what would happen if a donor ever looked me up on Twitter and saw that I'm doing this? That's, luckily for me, I work predominantly with a lot of people that don't even know what Twitter is. It's not been an issue yet. And then, some young grads who have personalities and a sense of humor and get it. My biggest worry is actually that my marketing department will see Fundraiser Grrl, because I am generally quite kind to donors and quite rough on my marketing department and on my finance department. Because brand standards and fiscal year ends are the bane of my existence. I hate them, and I think they are detrimental to fundraising. I hate branding, I hate rebranding. Well, I don't hate branding, but I hate the idea that branding is use this font, make it this color, use the logo here. For me, branding is the experience of calling, making a donation. What is the feeling, what is the content? I have had marketing departments tell me, like, no one can look at the camera, that's brand standard. And anyone who knows direct mail knows that, like, eyes are really powerful, and you need eyes looking at eyes, and when your marketing department says that's not brand standard, you want to, like, smack them. I am worried about that. It hasn't happened yet, but it might. I might really alienate some of my marketing coworkers. But at the end of the day, I stand behind a lot of what I post. I believe in it, or it comes from someone else, and I always be like, well, it was a submission by Anonymous, so it wasn't me.
Actually, because there's a few.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What's a few?
Yeah, I don't know if you know about this department. So they have like a program 2 semesters per year. They will ask a student to call this already graduate student for donation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I worked there for 1 semester, so I just kind of wondering. I don't know if I should ask this question.
No, ask it.
I just wonder, like, how do you feel about it? Because for me, like, personally, I don't really like that way of people asking for donation, because it's kind of you don't really have to do with the community. It's like people on the street and they come to me and they try to make me feel guilty.
Yeah.
You know, and they say,
Yeah.
oh, why do you spend money on buying clothes instead of, helping those people? And personally, I don't like people trying to make others feel guilty, what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she's saying, she kind of grapples with fundraising because, the making people feel guilty. And I guess my philosophy of fundraising is asking someone to make a donation is an invitation to make the world a better place. And if you find the right person and you ask them for the right amount of money for the right project at the right time, you are never going to make them feel like they're a bad person for saying no, make them feel guilty. It is going to be a joyful, wonderful experience. Philanthropy is a way for people to express their values, express their beliefs. But there's people out there that do it very differently, make you feel like a crummy person if you don't give. I don't believe that that's helpful. I don't believe that that's good for our sector. Specifically to the student calling program, I'm personally of the belief what BCIT does is if you've graduated in the last 3 years, when they call you, instead of asking for money, they let you know about the services and benefits you get as an alumni, and do something for you before they ask you for money. So you're not getting a fundraising call until after, theoretically, your student loans are paid off. I was getting calls from UBC the day I graduated. I got a call recently, and they asked me for $20 a month, and I said, that's a bit more than I want to give. She said, okay, how about $360 a year? I said, I don't know how much math you're doing at UBC, but that's the same amount of money. And I really wanted to give. I wanted to help UBC. I love UBC. I had a great conversation with the caller who's a poli-sci student, and I was poli-sci. I really liked her, but asking for that amount of money for my first donation really put me off. I think you can do it well, and I mean, I always say, I'm so slick when I ask you for money, you're not even gonna know, because you're gonna be saying to me, Rory, how much money can I give you before the time comes to ask. And I think a good direct mail piece is like that. They've told you such a beautiful story and hooked you, and you've gotten your checkbook out before the asks have even started. But not everyone treats it like the art that it is, and treats donors like they're ATMs and just expects them to give and give and give, and that's where donors get sick, that's where donors get bored, that's where donors lapse, stop giving, and start viewing fundraising in a very different way.
This is more for your fundraising side.
Yeah.
How do you balance between, because I've heard too, that I have to do a little bit of, it's sponsorship, but it's really fundraising because we're poor. So how do you balance between, I've heard you can't, you need to give them a really short email, because if it's long, they're not going to read it, but then I also hear that you have to tell them a story and you have to personalize it, or else they're not going to look at it. So I'm really...
Specifically with email?
Or just, I guess mostly email and letters.
You test it.
Mostly
you do a short one, you do a long one.
Yeah.
See which raises more money. You tell a story, you don't tell a story. You see which raises more money.
you also can keep the first ask really short and then expand the story after the first link to get into it, because people who are most likely to donate will respond quicker with less prompting. And as long as you have, I mean, I do advocacy emails and I try and keep my intro before the first act to 120 words or less. But I sometimes write like really long, 1,200 word emails, and we'll get lots of people to take action. But I know I've done that with fundraising too.
And there's like a rule in fundraising that direct mail should be 4 pages. And because some people have tested it and found that in general 4-page letters do better, what those people don't realize is that that was based on testing. A 2-page letter, a 3-page letter, a 4-page letter, a 5-page letter, and the 4-page letter did best. If you can tell your story and you can raise money in 2 pages more than you can raise money in 4, I take a 2-page letter that raises more money over a 4-page letter that raises less any day of the week. But you're not going to know that if you're not testing and you're not paying attention to what's working. And it is so much easier to stand in front of your boss or your board chair and say, this 4-page letter outperformed the 2-page letter, so I don't care if you think it's too long, it's raising more money and that is what my job is to do. And you're basing your decisions on evidence as opposed to, I read this in a tweet, so therefore that's what we're doing.
I know you said you don't use social media in your day job, but what do you see going forward the role of social media in fundraising, be it angel gifts, fundraising, and more?
There's a fundraiser, his name is Jeff Brooks, he's out of Seattle, and another fundraiser called Tom Ahern, and they both talk a lot about surprising and delighting your donors. Whether you are doing it with a letter, whether you're doing it with a tweet, surprise them and delight them. So surprise them is tell them a story, tell them something new, share the impact that their donation has had, tell a story in a new and unexpected way, and delight them. Make them feel like they are a good person for giving money to your cause. I think a lot of us want to make the world a better place, and charities can help people feel like that is what they are doing with their lives. When I was at the Cancer Society, this is one of my favorite stories, we had a donor who gave money and also occasionally would give his season tickets to the Canucks. And we gave them one day to a family, their son had cancer. And I asked them to tell me a story about what going to the game meant to them to tell back to the donor. One of the questions I asked them was the best thing about being at the game. And the parent said this to me, it wasn't seeing Alex Burrows score a goal, it wasn't, they were from up north, it wasn't being in GM Place for the first time in our lives, it wasn't the popcorn, it wasn't the hot dogs, it was that for 3 hours we weren't thinking about Connor's cancer. That's a surprise, there's a twist to that. So if you can do that one-on-one, telling that story one-on-one, surprising and delighting them, if you can do that with social media, that's the role I see playing, is making people understand the work that they are doing with their donations by telling beautiful stories and giving the credit to them. Other questions? All right.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Could you just walk us through how you set up the process that your community members are now doing the heavy lifting and you're doing more of the editing?
Yeah, so I asked people to submit. I started by doing caption this GIF, or what makes you feel like this, and having people just share via Twitter what they thought, and I would do that. I try to do like 2 or 3 times a week, ask people just on Twitter. I would find people telling funny stories on Twitter and on Facebook and say, can I share this on Fundraiser Grrl? And then as people got used to the idea of seeing their own stuff on Fundraiser Grrl, I really pushed my submission forum. So now I don't do caption this GIF or what makes you feel like this is often. I just say, share your funny fundraising stories, share your oh my god moments, and then the link to the submission form. I always give the credit to the people that have submitted it. I try and make sure their Twitter handle gets in the tweet. And I celebrate and thank people who submit, and the people who are most likely to submit to Fundraiser Grrl are the people who've already submitted, so really stewarding and taking really good care of the people who've given me content and encouraging them to do it again. I have maybe 3 people, Jessica, John, and Alicia, who give me most of my submitted content, so I need to make sure that, just like you would your major donors, that they're happy, they're engaged, they're thanked, and they want to keep doing it.
I'm curious, you said you don't do this at work, but you spend a lot of time on the internet.
Yes.
So what does that actually mean hours-wise per day?
A baby boomer asked me this question, and I think he was horrified. So I get up in the morning, and my husband takes a 15-minute shower, and I scroll through Twitter. This takes about 30 minutes to blow dry in the morning, and I am also tweeting as I'm doing it. I'm one-handing, and I commute 45 minutes to and from work, both ways. I am on Twitter on my phone while I'm commuting, sitting on a bus. I sit at my computer maybe half an hour, 45 minutes a day, but my phone is always with me, so I'm, 15-minute break at work, I'm scrolling through stuff. I'm walking across campus, I'm one of those horrible people head down looking at my phone. So I'm not missing out on sunsets and love and life and great wine because I'm always on my computer. Instead of driving a car to work and having 45 minutes of hating traffic, I'm spending 45 minutes engaging my community on my phone. I have Hootsuite on my phone, I can schedule content on my phone, I can follow people on my phone, I can do all of that. So I would say that the spaces in my life of otherwise meaningless stuff are filled up with social media, but I think I have as much time to carpe diem as the rest of the world. All right, thank you very much. I'm sticking around, so if you have more questions, please feel free.
See, I promised you the future. We delivered. So, two things. One, if you stick around for a little bit, we're going to buy you some booze, because that's how we roll. Because actually, that's how IX Payments, our sponsor, rolls. Bless their hearts. So first of all, I know that some of you guys have little things you want to show off about, something you want to share with the world. So this is your opportunity. You can line up right here, and we'll start that process in just a minute. I know Siobhan Aspinall, for one, is promoting some very cool events right now with the AFB, so of course you'd want to share those. Chad is probably doing some kind of work placement program that we should all know about. I'm going to start off and I'll model this. So, hi, my name's Eli. That's how you should start. You should start with your name. And then you should tell us what you're all about. So in my case, as the host of NetSquared Vancouver, I'm looking to expand the team of people holding these monthly events. So maybe you've got a really cool idea for an event. Maybe you want to help out at the front desk sometime. Maybe you are a videographer and you want to do some event documentation. Any kind of way you want to contribute, I reckon there's a way you can get involved. So come, talk to me, and I'll hook you up and suck you into this goodness. So who wants to be next?
Me, please. Thanks. I do want to tell people, if there's a couple fundraisers in the room, and people who just might work in sales or whatever, and you want to hone your asking skills, my name is Siobhan. There is a great Association of Fundraising Professionals event coming up on the morning of July 23rd, and it's called The Art of the Ask. And you get to workshop at a table your asking skills, practice your wording in a safe environment with fundraisers and a mix of people from the nonprofit community. The tickets are about $40. You get a hot buffet breakfast, and the experts have years and years of fundraising experience. So Art of the Ask on July 23rd, and you can buy tickets and get more information at www.afpvancouver.org.
No worries. Come on up, come on up.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
For your AFP meetup, is it for people who are AFP members, or is it just kind of for anybody who's interested in such things, and it's just happening to be hosted by?
Yep.
So there's two elements. Tell them about both your social meetups and then the other events.
But my minute's up.
Go.
Oh.
No one else is lined up.
What was the question?
So you have two things. You don't just have expensive events. You have all kinds of things.
Oh, there's some free stuff. There's some networking events that are free. There's none scheduled right now. So terrible segue, Eli. Sorry. terrible. But you can find us. You can find a little more. What's the word I'm looking for? Proactive kind of information on our events. We have meetups. So AFP Vancouver is also on meetup.com. So check us out there too.
Awesome.
Thanks, Chad.
So outside of eating all the carrots and broccoli, my name's Chad. Just to gauge the room a little bit, who works for organizations of less than 500 people at them? Probably everybody but Rory, because SFU is huge. So I run a one of the things I do is I run a government wage subsidy program. So if you are looking to hire somebody,
I will pay their wages up to a year. Mercs and everything. The catch is that it has to be a person with a disability. The most people that I work with have like a university education. I have a bunch of smart young people looking for work, and I'll give you the money to pay them. So come talk to me if you want to learn more. Thanks.
Easy. Who else is doing really cool things? Come on up, come on up.
I'll go next. I'm Vicky again. And I want to go after Chad because I actually am I'm working with a nonprofit called Open Door Group, but I'm actually working with one of his coworkers that he probably doesn't know that I'm working with, Chris. And we're actually working on, or I'm supposed to be working on 5 events that promote disability awareness, whether that's visible or invisible. And we're trying to do a film festival, we're trying to do an employment forum, we're trying to do a lot of stuff. So that's why I'm trying to look for money. But yeah, so I want to go after Chris. It's called Project Everybody. I think it's projecteverybody.ca. The website's not up yet.
Oh.
It's just a coming soon page.
Excellent, excellent. Who else has got cool things on the go? Come on up. Late arrival volunteer.
Hey guys, my name is Noah and I like to help out with throwing these Dance Squared events. And one of the things I do is I am the Pied Piper who leads us all to the magical land of beer. So yay, thanks to our sponsors IATS for shouting the first round. We don't have a reservation or anything, but we're just going to go down to Alibi Room and just follow me out the door when this is wrapped, and we'll go have a drink and hang out in a more social environment. So thanks.
It's going to be great. Yeah! Anyone else? Anyone launching a project, looking to bring in like a volunteer?
Fundraiser Grrl is always looking for submissions.
Yeah, see, totally. And where would we go to submit?
fundraisergrrl.tumblr.com.
Google will help you out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, since the rest of you are shy creatures, even though you're doing amazing things, why don't we wrap this up? Thank you so much for coming out again. Just a reminder that on the 21st, that's in just under 2 weeks, free consulting from Hootsuite. Why not? They're experts, they know what's going down. If you want to learn more about scheduled posting, they can guide you through that process, both from like the basic stuff to the very automated stuff, all kinds of like how to target your tweets so you can like search in certain geographic areas. Again, they'll hook you up. So that might be worth going to, and otherwise, go to net2van.com. All the goodness is there. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming out. Follow our Pied Piper. I'm going to hang out here for about 15 minutes just putting things away, but in the meantime, Noah's got your back. So have fun, and thanks for coming out.
See you live.
Also, Rory's the best. Woo!